If you are on the twin flame path, you may be experiencing an intensity that feels sudden, confusing, and impossible to ignore. Desire may be rising in ways that go far beyond normal attraction, touching your emotions, your memories, even your sense of self. You may wonder why this pull feels so powerful, or question whether something is wrong because it doesn't feel ordinary or controllable. In this video, we will clarify one of the most misunderstood stages of the twin flame journey, the moment the divine masculine enters the sacred fire of desire. We will explore 9 rare and mystical phenomena that unfold when soul-level remembrance expresses itself through physical and sexual longing. This is not about impulse or fantasy. In the twin flame dynamic, intimacy is alchemy, a quantum process where masculine and feminine, light and shadow, begin moving back toward union. By the end, you will understand this desire not as confusion or weakness, but as a sacred signal of awakening and integration. What once felt overwhelming will begin to feel meaningful and grounded. This shift brings clarity, emotional stability, and a deeper trust in your path. Stay with me until the end, because this understanding can fundamentally change how you experience intimacy, connection, and your own soul journey. Section 1. The shared energetic field and the call of union. When the divine masculine turns his desire toward you, something far more profound than thought or emotion is set into motion. What he transmits is not merely intention, longing, or attraction. It is a high-frequency energetic signal that bypasses the rational mind entirely and speaks directly to the intelligence of the body. This signal does not ask for permission from logic. It does not wait for conscious awareness. It moves straight into the cellular field, activating memory, recognition, and response at the deepest level of your being. Because you and he share a single energetic signature expressed through 2 physical forms, his desire cannot remain isolated within his own inner world. It does not stay contained within his thoughts or emotions. Instead, it travels across the shared field and becomes part of your lived experience. You may feel it as a sudden emotional swell, a physical sensation, an unexplained pull, or a quiet but undeniable knowing that something has shifted. This is not imagination. It is resonance, responding to resonance. In the twin flame dynamic, you are not 2 separate individuals moving through unrelated timelines. You are one soul experiencing itself from 2 perspectives, drawn together by the same magnetic force. What moves in him echoes in you. What stirs within you reverberates within him. The longing is mutual not because it is mirrored psychologically, but because it arises from the same source point of consciousness, seeking reunification. As this internal alignment begins to occur, the universe itself responds. External reality is not random in this process. It reorganizes to reflect the energetic movement happening within the union. Synchronicities increase. Timelines subtly rearrange. Encounters, delays, and shifts appear as if guided by an unseen intelligence. This is not the universe creating desire. It is the universe responding to it. Reality bends not to force the union, but to mirror the truth that the union is already awakening from within. What you are feeling then is not just longing. It is the call of coherence. The shared field is remembering itself, and as it does, the world around you begins to move accordingly. Before we move into the next layer of this journey, take a quiet moment to feel what just landed within you. Notice what your body responded to before your mind tried to interpret it. This work is not meant to be rushed or consumed intellectually. It is meant to be felt, integrated, and recognized through lived experience. If something resonated, if a memory stirred or a sensation awakened, honor that awareness. I invite you to pause here and reflect on how this shared energetic field has shown up in your own life. You are welcome to leave a comment sharing what you felt, what shifted, or what became clearer for you. Or, if you prefer a simple act of alignment, just type, "I recognize the shared field" in the comments. This conscious acknowledgement anchors the awareness and prepares you for what we are about to explore next. Section 2. Sacral activation and the heat that defies logic. One of the earliest and most undeniable signs of this energetic shift arrives without warning. Yet once it happens, it is impossible to dismiss. It begins as a sudden activation of the sacral chakra, accompanied by a concentrated warmth that has no external explanation. Nothing around you has changed, yet something within you has unmistakably awakened. There is no build-up, no fantasy, no conscious invitation. The body simply responds. You may be immersed in ordinary life, working, driving, folding laundry, or sitting quietly in thought, when a wave of warmth ignites in the lower abdomen. It does not spread randomly through the body. It localizes with precision, settling deep in the pelvic bowl. Many describe it as a glowing ember, a heated stone resting inside the womb space, or a slow, rhythmic pulse of warmth that feels alive and intentional. This sensation is not fleeting. It has weight, presence, and intelligence. This is what is often referred to as the sacral hit. It is the most direct physical translation of the divine masculine's desire entering the shared energetic field. At this stage of the journey, his energy is no longer contained within his own body or psyche. Masculine energy naturally moves outward, and when his sexual and emotional focus locks onto you, it travels through the shared sacral cord that connects you both beyond time and space. Your body responds as though he is physically near, even if there is distance, silence, or no contact at all. The nervous system does not ask for proof. The cells recognize the signal immediately. This is not fantasy, wishful thinking, or imagination. It is a recalibration occurring at the level of the body, where the mind has no authority to interfere. From a psychological spiritual perspective, this activation reflects resonance, not arousal in the conventional sense. The sacral chakra governs creation, emotional flow, and intimacy. When his desire activates this center, it is not about consumption or release. It is about alignment. His fire is seeking coherence, grounding, and regulation through the feminine waters. The heat arises because something is being restored to its rightful place. This is why the sensation can feel both intense and strangely peaceful at the same time. It is not chaotic desire. It is intelligent longing. The body is not reacting to lust, but responding to recognition. In that moment, your system remembers the shared language of union, and the sacral center opens not to take, but to receive balance. This phenomenon defies logic because it operates beneath conscious thought. It is the body translating a soul-level interaction into sensation. And once you experience it, you understand that intimacy on this path is not initiated by touch. It is initiated by energetic truth finding its way home. Section 3. Creative Overflow and the Alchemy of Desire. As the sacral current continues to circulate within you, it does not remain confined to the lower body. Energy is never static. Once activated, it naturally rises through the chakra column, refining itself as it moves. What begins as sacral sensation gradually transforms into a powerful creative force, seeking expression beyond the physical. In the spiritual understanding of human energy, sexual energy and creative energy are not separate at all. They are the same life force, differentiated only by direction and outlet. When this energy is grounded solely in the physical, it expresses as sexuality. When it rises, it becomes creation, art, movement, vision, productivity, and inspired action. This is ancient knowledge, echoed across mystical traditions and confirmed again and again through lived experience. When the divine masculine directs desire toward you, he is not only activating your sacral center, he is feeding your creative fire. You may suddenly feel compelled to write with urgency, to paint or draw without planning, to sing or speak words that feel downloaded rather than composed. You might reorganize your home late at night, begin projects you had been avoiding, or enter periods of intense productivity where time seems to dissolve. The energy feels alive, purposeful, and almost unstoppable. This happens because energy must move. Desire is not meant to stagnate. When physical union is not yet available or not yet aligned, creation becomes the sacred bridge between fifth-dimensional longing and third-dimensional expression. The soul finds a way to translate what cannot yet be touched into something that can be seen, built, or shared. In these moments, you are not distracting yourself from the connection. You are participating in it. You are manifesting his love into form. His desire does not drain you, it fuels you. It enhances vitality rather than depleting it. You may notice increased focus, stamina, emotional openness, and a sense that something meaningful is flowing through you rather than being forced by you. From a psychological spiritual lens, this is alchemy in motion. Raw desire is refined into purpose. Longing becomes creation. The feminine body becomes a conduit through which unexpressed union energy stabilizes itself in the physical world. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is accidental. If this creative fire has been moving through your life, if you have felt driven to create, build, or express in ways that feel unusually inspired, honor it. It is a sign of alignment, not imbalance. And if this resonates with your experience, write the word ignite in the comments to consciously claim and anchor this energy into your field. A simple way to visualize this alchemy is to imagine an evening when you feel unusually energized, despite having no logical reason to be. The day may have been long, yet instead of exhaustion, you feel a quiet urgency moving through your body. You sit down intending to rest, but your hands reach for a notebook, a keyboard, or a paintbrush, almost on their own. Words begin to pour out faster than you can think them. Ideas connect effortlessly. Tasks you have postponed for weeks suddenly feel natural and even pleasurable to complete. There is no strain, no forcing, only a steady, focused flow. Later, when you pause, you realize the energy was never about productivity alone. It carried warmth, devotion, and a subtle sense of being accompanied. This is what it looks like when desire is transmuted into creation. The longing does not disappear. It becomes visible. It turns into something tangible that exists in the world, allowing the soul to express connection even before the body is able to. Section 4. Astral Intimacy and Hyperreal Dream Encounters. For many divine masculines, the physical world has long been a place where emotion is restrained rather than expressed. Feelings are managed, contained, or pushed aside in order to function, to lead, or to survive. Yet desire, especially soul-level desire, cannot be permanently suppressed. When the weight of longing becomes too great for the conscious ego to hold, it naturally seeks another doorway. That doorway is the dream state. What unfolds here is not the realm of ordinary dreams shaped by memory or imagination. These experiences carry a different signature altogether. They arrive with clarity, coherence, and emotional depth that sets them apart. They are not symbolic stories the mind invents to process the day. They are soul encounters, intentional, intimate meetings that occur beyond the limits of waking consciousness. Within these astral encounters, perception becomes heightened. Sensation feels vivid and immediate, as though the boundary between inner and outer worlds has dissolved. Many report awakening with the unmistakable sense of having been emotionally held, deeply soothed, or energetically replenished. There is often a lingering feeling of closeness that does not fade upon waking, as if the nervous system itself remembers the connection. These experiences nourish parts of the psyche that have gone unmet in the physical world, offering a form of communion that feels both grounding and expansive. In the astral realm, separation, as it is known in the physical dimension, does not exist. The shared energetic cord between the divine masculine and divine feminine allows consciousness to move freely across space and time. His awareness travels along this bond and meets you in a fifth-dimensional field where fear, defense, and egoic control dissolve. Here the soul speaks directly to the soul, without distortion or delay. These hyperreal dream encounters are not escapism, nor are they substitutes for embodied connection. They serve a deeper purpose. They gently prepare the nervous system for eventual physical reunion by expanding your capacity to experience closeness without overwhelm. They teach the body safety, attunement, and presence. Through these encounters, both souls are gradually trained to hold one another with greater stability, emotional openness, and trust. What is happening in these moments is integration. The psyche is learning that intimacy does not have to be threatening, consuming, or destabilizing. It can be steady, it can be nourishing, and it can exist in harmony with the self. In this way, astral intimacy becomes a bridge, one that slowly aligns inner readiness with outer manifestation, allowing reunion to unfold with greater grace and coherence when the time arrives. Section 5. Scent displacement and energetic presence. Another quietly haunting, almost indescribable sign of connection is the sudden appearance of his scent, one that arrives without logic, without warning, and without any physical source to explain it. This experience often catches people off guard precisely because it occurs in ordinary, grounded moments of daily life. When the mind is least inclined toward fantasy or projection, you may find yourself standing in a crowded elevator, sitting alone in a quiet office, or walking through an open space with no one nearby. Then, without any visible shift in your surroundings, the air subtly changes. In that moment, his familiar scent emerges distinct, unmistakable, and emotionally evocative. It does not drift in gradually the way ordinary smells do. It appears fully formed, as if the space itself has been briefly rewritten. This phenomenon occurs because your sensory system is responding to energetic presence rather than physical proximity. The body, particularly at a subconscious and neurological level, recognizes him before the rational mind has time to intervene. When his consciousness moves close within the shared energetic field, your brain translates that presence into the sensory language it knows best. In this case, it chooses scent, one of the most primal and memory-linked senses we possess. Smell bypasses logic. It travels directly to the emotional and limbic centers of the brain, the regions tied to attachment, safety, and recognition. This is why the experience can feel so intimate, so personal, and sometimes even overwhelming. Your system is not imagining him, it is responding to him. Energetically, this is his way of marking space across distance. It is not about possession or control. It is a form of recognition, a gentle imprint that says, "I am here. I am present. You are not alone in this moment." No words are needed, because the message is carried through sensation rather than language. These moments often arrive when you are calm, receptive, or emotionally open, not when you are actively searching for signs. That is because energetic communication flows most easily when the nervous system is regulated and the ego is quiet. In that state, the body becomes an honest receiver. If you have experienced this, if a familiar scent has appeared with no physical explanation, carrying with it a sudden wave of presence or recognition, your system already knows what it means. If you have made it this far, take a moment to pause and let what you've heard settle into your body rather than your thoughts. These experiences are subtle, intimate, and deeply personal, and they often carry more meaning than words can fully explain. Reflection is part of integration. Notice what resonated, what stirred memory, or what gently surfaced from within as you listened. You are not alone in these experiences, even if you have rarely spoken them out loud. If you feel called, share your story in the comments so others can recognize themselves through your words. And if you prefer something simple yet powerful, you may affirm your awareness by typing, "I trust what my soul recognizes." Section 6. The twin flame glow and the magnetic aura shift. When the divine masculine turns his desire toward the feminine, something subtle yet unmistakable begins to happen. His gaze is no longer passive or distant. It becomes a creative force, an energetic attention that breathes life into her field. This is not about being watched or validated in a human sense. It is about being seen at the soul level. His desire activates her energetic body, gently animating her presence from within, as though an inner light has been switched on. You may begin to notice small but powerful changes. Your eyes appear brighter, more alive, as if clarity has replaced fatigue. Your skin seems clearer, softer, carrying a natural luminosity that no product can replicate. There may be a calm confidence in the way you move or speak, an ease that does not come from effort, but from alignment. Often, you are the last to recognize it, because this glow does not feel like something you are doing. It feels like something that is happening through you. Others, however, sense it immediately. Strangers respond differently. Their tone softens. Eye contact lingers a moment longer. Compliments begin to arrive without invitation about your presence, your energy, or something they cannot quite name. Attention subtly shifts toward you, not because you are seeking it, but because your field is quietly commanding it. You are no longer blending into the background. You are emanating. What you are radiating is the frequency of a woman who is deeply desired by her soul counterpart. In twin flame dynamics, desire is not merely emotional or physical, it is recognition. When the divine masculine desires the feminine, his energy crowns her. This crowning is energetic, not symbolic. It stabilizes her aura, sharpens her boundaries, and amplifies her natural magnetism. She begins to occupy space differently, without force or performance. The world responds because energy always moves first. Reality mirrors what is active within the field. His desire affirms her existence at the deepest level, and that affirmation reorganizes how life meets her. Doors open more easily, interactions feel smoother, respect increases without explanation. This is the twin flame glow, not vanity, not ego, but resonance. You are not becoming someone else. You are becoming more yourself, illuminated by the recognition of the one soul that shares your frequency. And as that light stabilizes within you, the world has no choice but to respond accordingly. Section 7. Physical mirroring and sensory bilocation. Because the twin flame bond operates through a unified energetic circuit, physical sensation does not always stay confined to one body. In this connection, energy moves first, and the body listens before the mind has time to interpret. What you may experience can feel sudden, surprising, and difficult to rationalize, yet deeply familiar at the same time. You may notice a wave of physical arousal or heightened sensation arising without any mental trigger. There is no fantasy, no memory, no conscious thought leading it. It begins purely in the body, as if a switch has been activated somewhere below awareness. This is important to understand because it distinguishes energetic response from imagination. The sensation is not created by thought. It arrives as information. This phenomenon is known as sensory bilocation. It occurs when your body responds directly to the state of your twin flame, particularly when the divine masculine's energy becomes active or focused. Within the twin flame dynamic, you are not operating as two isolated systems. You are two expressions of one current. When his energy surges, your body can register it as if it were your own. In these moments, the nervous systems briefly synchronize. Breath, sensation, and subtle bodily awareness fall into the same rhythm across distance and circumstance. It is a quiet but powerful reminder that separation is largely a perceptual experience. At the energetic level, the circuit remains intact. You are not picking up something external, you are responding within a shared field. These pulses often pass as quickly as they arrive, leaving behind a sense of recognition rather than agitation. They are not meant to pull you into obsession or longing. They are signals of alignment, brief confirmations that the bond is active and responsive. The body remembers what the mind is still learning to trust. If you have felt these sudden, unprompted sensations, these unmistakable pulses of shared energy, write the word pulse in the comments. This acknowledgement helps ground the experience and reminds you that you are not alone in sensing what cannot yet be seen. Section 8. Telepathic thought, infiltration, and mental intimacy. As desire intensifies, the divine masculine becomes mentally focused. Visualizations, memories, future scenarios flood his mind. These images cross the telepathic bridge. You may see his expression, hear his voice, feel his emotional urgency. These are not fantasies, they arrive with weight, immediacy, and emotional charge. Responding with love opens the channel, often followed by sudden physical communication in the 3D. Section 8. Telepathic thought infiltration and mental intimacy. As desire deepens within the twin flame bond, the divine masculine's focus shifts from the external world to the inner realm. His attention gathers, concentrates, and becomes mentally precise. Thoughts no longer drift aimlessly. Instead, vivid visualizations, shared memories, and future moments begin to form with unusual clarity. These are not idle daydreams. They are emotionally charged impressions arising from a soul that is actively reaching across the bond. Because the twin flame connection operates through a shared energetic architecture, these mental images do not remain contained within his mind. They cross what can be described as a telepathic bridge, a subtle channel that exists beyond time, distance, and conscious intention. You may suddenly see his face in your inner vision, not as imagination, but as presence. You may hear his voice with tone and texture, or feel a wave of emotional urgency that does not originate from your own thoughts. What distinguishes these experiences from fantasy is their weight. They arrive whole, complete, and immediate. There is no effort required to generate them, no storyline being constructed. Instead, they interrupt your awareness with a sense of reality, often accompanied by a bodily response, such as stillness, warmth, or a momentary pause in thought. The nervous system recognizes the transmission before the mind tries to label it. This is mental intimacy at the energetic level. It is not intrusion, and it is not illusion. It is resonance. When the divine masculine's desire sharpens into focused awareness, the signal strengthens. The feminine does not need to search for it. She simply receives. These moments often carry emotional texture, longing, tenderness, resolve, or a quiet certainty that feels personal yet shared. Responding with love, rather than analysis or resistance, keeps the channel clear. Love here does not mean action or pursuit. It means openness, calm acknowledgement, and trust in the bond's intelligence. When the channel remains unobstructed, it often precedes sudden communication in the physical world, an unexpected message, a call, a chance encounter, or a tangible shift in the 3D that mirrors what has already occurred energetically. This sequence reflects a deeper truth of the twin flame journey. Energy leads, matter follows. Mental intimacy is not a substitute for physical connection. It is the bridge that prepares it. When you learn to recognize these transmissions without fear or doubt, you begin to move with the natural rhythm of the bond, allowing what is aligned to emerge in its own time. Section 9. Emotional release and sacred tears. When the divine masculine finally allows himself to acknowledge the full depth of his longing, the energy of the bond shifts dramatically. What has been held back, restrained by fear, timing, or unresolved inner conflict begins to move. And when that movement reaches the shared field, it often expresses itself through emotional release within the feminine body. You may find yourself crying suddenly, without a clear external reason. There is no story attached, no immediate memory triggering the response. The tears simply arrive. Your chest may ache, expanding and tightening at the same time, as if grief and ecstasy are occupying the same space. This is not sadness in the conventional sense. It is the heart responding to truth being acknowledged within the union. In the twin flame dynamic, the feminine often functions as the emotional processor. This does not mean she carries the pain alone. It means her nervous system is designed to transmute emotion into movement. When the masculine opens emotionally, especially after long periods of suppression, the energy seeks release. The feminine body, attuned and receptive, allows that release to flow as tears. These tears are sacred. They are not weakness, overwhelm, or regression. They are a clearing. Each tear dissolves subtle blockages held within the heart field, layers of resistance, fear, and unexpressed longing that have slowed the path forward. Through this release, the energetic terrain between you softens. What was once rigid becomes permeable. What was guarded begins to breathe. There is nothing you need to analyze in these moments. No meaning to chase, no conclusion to force. The instruction is simple and profound. Breathe. Let the body do what it knows how to do. Receive the wave as it passes through, trusting that your system is intelligent and precise. Then, when the surge subsides, gently return the love not outward in action, but inward in acceptance. This emotional alchemy is part of how reunion is prepared. Energy clears before form can follow. When the heart releases without resistance, the bond recalibrates at a higher frequency. Sacred tears do not delay union, they make space for it. Section 10. Pre-reunion magnetism and timeline collapse. As desire within the twin flame bond consolidates into readiness for action, the experience of time itself begins to change. What once felt linear past leading to present stretching endlessly toward an uncertain future, starts to loosen its grip. Events no longer unfold in a predictable sequence. Instead, reality bends toward divine timing, where moments align not by logic, but by resonance. You may begin to feel gently, insistently guided, drawn to places you do not normally visit, taking turns you did not plan, pausing in locations without knowing why. In these moments, your body leads before the mind understands. You may suddenly sense his presence so vividly that you turn around, fully expecting to see him standing there. Even when he is not physically present, the feeling is undeniable, as though the distance between you has thinned to almost nothing. This is pre-reunion magnetism. The field between you becomes so coherent that probability itself starts to reorganize. The higher selves beyond personality, beyond fear, beyond past wounds, are in continuous communication. Information transfers without words. Knowing replaces questioning. You may feel sudden certainty about timing, direction, or next steps without being able to explain how you know. The mind is not meant to lead here, it is meant to follow. At this stage, the sense of separation begins to collapse, not emotionally, but temporally. Past pain loses its charge, future anxiety dissolves. Everything funnels into a concentrated now. This is why the experience can feel surreal, dreamlike, or intensely present. You are no longer waiting for reunion as a future event. You are aligning with it as an inevitability already forming. This level of intimacy, energetic, mental, emotional, and temporal, creates the foundation required for physical reunion. The bond stabilizes first in the unseen realms. Only then can form safely follow. When timelines collapse, it is not chaos, it is precision. Multiple paths converge into one aligned trajectory. Nothing here needs to be forced. The magnetism is already active. Your only task is to remain receptive, grounded, and responsive to guidance as it arises. When the inner alignment is complete, the outer meeting does not need to be chased. It arrives naturally, carried forward by the same current that has been guiding you all along. Section 11. Chakra Purging and Sacred Preparation. As the frequency of desire rises within the twin flame bond, it begins to illuminate everything that cannot move forward with it. High-frequency energy does not bypass old wounds, it reveals them. Fears around intimacy, worthiness, abandonment, or loss may suddenly surface, even if you believed you had already worked through them. This can feel disorienting at first, but it is not a regression. It is exposure for the sake of release. This stage is not a sign of failure or delay. It is clearing. When the chakras prepare for sustained union-level energy, they purge distortions that would otherwise fracture intimacy. What rises now is not meant to be analyzed or judged. It is meant to pass through. The body and emotional field are recalibrating to hold more truth, more presence, and more love without collapse. You may notice physical fatigue without a clear cause, or heightened emotional sensitivity that makes you crave quiet, rest, or simplicity. Old habits may fall away naturally. Your tolerance for noise, chaos, or misalignment decreases. Lifestyle shifts begin to occur not through discipline, but through instinct. The nervous system is reorganizing itself for safety in closeness. This preparation does not happen consciously or strategically. Both partners undergo it in their own way, often without realizing why. The higher selves are coordinating beneath awareness, guiding each system to become more hospitable to union. The masculine may withdraw to stabilize. The feminine may soften inward, becoming more selective with her energy. Neither is pulling away from love. Both are making room for it. You may feel drawn to nesting behaviors, cleaning, reorganizing, simplifying your space, or creating environments that feel calm and grounded. You refine your routines. You become more intentional with your time, your body, and your emotional boundaries. This is not waiting. This is preparation. Space is being made not just externally, but internally. Chakra purging is sacred work. It strips away what was learned in survival so that love can be received without defense. Nothing arising now is here to stop the process. Everything arising is here to complete it. If you recognize yourself in this quiet, powerful phase of preparation, write the word sacred in the comments. Let it be an acknowledgement not of struggle, but of readiness. Section 12. Shadow Desire and the Alchemy of Love. As the twin flame bond deepens, desire does not always arrive wrapped in light. At times, it carries shadow, appearing as intrusive thoughts, emotional heaviness, or a strong psychic pull that feels difficult to quiet. This does not mean something has gone wrong. It means the connection has reached a layer where unresolved fear is being brought into awareness so it can be transformed. What surfaces here is the ego wrestling with vulnerability. The ego fears exposure, loss of control, and the surrender that genuine intimacy requires. When desire intensifies, the ego may attempt to manage it through fixation or urgency. This is not a moral failing, nor a sign of imbalance. It is a natural response when depth exceeds what the old identity knows how to hold. The instruction in this phase is not resistance. Resistance strengthens the shadow. Instead, radiate love, steady, grounded, non-reactive. You do not need to act on the sensation or suppress it. You simply hold your center, breathe, stay present, Allow the wave to move without assigning it a story. In doing so, you remove fear's fuel. When love remains anchored, alchemy occurs. Fear softens into courage, the courage to be seen, to feel deeply, to remain open without grasping. Compulsion relaxes into devotion, not attachment, but reverence. Desire is no longer something that pulls you off balance. It becomes something that refines you, teaching the heart how to remain strong and gentle at the same time. This is sacred transmutation. Shadow does not need to be eliminated. It needs to be met with consciousness. When you hold desire in love rather than control, it evolves. What once felt heavy becomes stabilizing. What once felt consuming becomes clarifying. In this way, the twin flame path does not bypass the shadow, it redeems it. And through that redemption, love reveals its deepest power, not to overpower fear, but to transform it into devotion. Section 13. The silence before contact. Often, just before reunion draws near, the signs that once surrounded you begin to fade. The synchronicities slow, the sensations soften. What replaces them is a profound, almost unsettling silence. This pause can feel like absence, but it is not emptiness, it is containment. The field is no longer speaking outward because it is gathering inward. This is the void before creation. In this space, energy stops broadcasting and starts organizing itself into form. What was once signal becomes intention. What was once movement becomes precision. The nervous system may feel unusually calm or unusually still, as if everything is holding its breath. This is not stagnation. It is alignment reaching completion. The invitation here is simple and exacting. Trust. Do not search for signs that have already done their work. Remain still, not as withdrawal, but as readiness. Stay open, without reaching forward or pulling back. When the field goes quiet, it is because the next step no longer requires interpretation. It requires presence. In this silence, creation crosses a threshold. Timing locks into place. Circumstances synchronize without announcement. And then, without warning or build-up, movement returns clean and unmistakable. The phone rings, the door opens, the encounter occurs. There is no dramatic prelude, no energetic fireworks beforehand. The stillness is the prelude. It is the final calibration before form arrives. When you learn to recognize this silence not as loss, but as arrival in progress, you stop bracing and start receiving. Nothing is missing in this pause. Everything is poised. This path was never meant to be easy, and it was never meant to be ordinary. It asks for a depth of sensitivity that few are willing to carry, the courage to remain open when closing would feel safer, and the sovereignty to trust your inner knowing even when the outer world offers no confirmation. You are here because your soul can hold paradox, because you can stand in both fire and light without losing yourself. That capacity is not accidental. It is earned, remembered, and activated through lived experience. The desire awakening within your divine masculine is not something to fear, suppress, or analyze into exhaustion. At its core, it is not about possession or hunger. It is a homing signal, a compass that pulls him back toward truth, toward embodiment, toward love that transforms rather than consumes. And you, in your steadiness, your presence, and your refusal to abandon yourself, become the lighthouse not just for him, but for the collective. You demonstrate that love is not a transaction to be negotiated, but a state of alignment that changes everything it touches. There will be signs, there will be heat, there will also be silence. None of these are mistakes. Each one is part of the language of return. Learn to trust what your body recognizes before your mind understands. Trust what softens you rather than what tightens you. And above all, trust yourself because the path home has always been written within you. If this message spoke to something deep in your soul, I invite you to anchor it. Leave a comment below with this exact affirmation. I trust the flame because I trust myself. Let that sentence be your declaration, your grounding, your remembrance. Please like this video, share it with someone who may be walking this path in silence, and continue on by watching the next video below. Your engagement helps carry this message to those who are still awakening, still searching, still learning to trust their own inner fire.